Thank you for coming back. So let's continue with some interesting talk. And from Innovatif, welcome. And hopefully we have the technical parts solved. We'll see. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. It's working. Hello, everybody. Today I will present you a project that we developed for our client. This project is To sam jaz. This is moderated question and answer system. And at the beginning about myself, my name is Tine Dolzan. I am backend developer at Innovatif in Ljubljana. I have 20 years of experience with web development. I work with Silver Stripe for the last 4 years, Innovatif. I also programmed in C, Perl, assembly. By education, I'm an electrical engineer, more specifically electronics. So I know something about microprocessors, transistors, and also assembly language. So let's go to the next slide. And something about Innovatif, the company where I work. We are stationed in Ljubljana, Slovenia. We create strategic platforms that integrate communication and technology solutions, allowing brands to successfully adapt to the ever-changing world. I will not read that slide. I will rather speak about projects we do. We do many different projects, as it was mentioned before. Our greatest project is government sites for Slovenia. We also do different projects for tourism, other companies, for non-government organizations, and so on. So we develop for quite a wide field. The project To sam jaz is a project from National Institute for Public Health. It's a government organization. It is connected to the program for youth mental health, which was established in 2001 by that institute. It is a web counseling service which provides anonymous, public, free, fast, and simple access to advice from experts for youths. They have around 17 counselors, doctors from different fields, psychologists, social workers, and other experts. They are all volunteers and they manage this team. There was a website which was, before we did rebuild, it consisted of 2 parts. The first part with content, with articles written by experts, was on Silver Stripe 3. It was done by Innovatif. The other part, with questions and answers, were PHP BB instance. It was quite a bit modified or extended with editorial moderation system which supported their workflow. Interesting is that this part in PHP was also developed by me. Before I was on Innovatif, I worked for Overnet, which developed this implementation. Both of these parts were connected to APIs, so some content was exchanged, but not much really. Some questions were on the home page, on the front side of Silver Stripe, which was asked on the PHP BB, but that was mostly all. The project goals for redevelopment of these sites was, in the first priority was a move to single service provider. So before they have Innovatif, us, and overnet. And they wanted to have a single service provider for whole package. They also wanted to reorganize their content, so it would be closely connected, so questions and all the articles and everything, and better organized. Also, there was a new website design, previous design. There was no time, so I will comment on the fly, things like that. This topic group we see here, it's like category. Every article is in one topic group. Inside that topic groups we have topics which functions like tags. Every article, every content can have multiple tags. There is another taxonomy which is connected only to questions. It is not visible on the front end. They use it for their own statistic. So when a new question arrives, they will classify it with category group, and category, and even subcategory. They do this really strictly, so every question they get into the system is classified. And the first idea was to have just one taxonomy, one classification, and what we did was we tried to simplify their classification, but they didn't like it. That's client said, this must stay the same. Problem with this classification is we have really lot of categories, a lot of category groups. Some are not the best for the front-end use, and there is really too much of them. So we implemented topic groups and topics and connected these both classifications together. Okay. Our first plan was to rebuild the content part with Civil Stripe forward course. For chat we used the external application Talk2, so that is not really the interesting part. And first plan for question and answer part was similar to something what was before. To take a third-party software, some forum software, or question and answer software, and modify it. Two options which were at the end were vanilla forums and Flarum. Now, look what do we actually need for this site from forum. We need just a single board, non-threaded structure, very basic permission system. Some typical forum features like likes, bookmarks. We also need basic user dashboard profile, no advanced functionality, just nickname, age, and as little as possible of data. We need quite a lot of content moderation, that's true. And also we need notifications, email notifications to be exact. So forum software will usually supply all these features. They will be quite complex, more than we need actually. So what was the tricky part? Our client wanted specifically for them designed editorial system to manage all the content that comes with questions and to manage it. This looks like that. When user posts a question is not published, it's not visible to the public. User can be anonymous, can be registered, but there is no personal data about the user in the system. And then question goes to editor. Editor will edit the question if necessary, so to fix something, to remove something is necessary. It will categorize the question or classify the question. When everything is done, it will be published, so public can see the question, published on the front end. Also, he will assign appropriate counselor that will later answer the question, and he will trigger sending of the email to the counselor. So the counselor will be noticed that he needs to answer this question. And counselors take some time, about 24 hours. Some are very fast, some not, and they answers the question. And this question, when then in this answer, is also at the beginning unpublished, so nobody sees it until editor will check the answer, it will edit the answer, add a greeting or something, or assign counselor user, because counselors can answer the questions anonymously also, but editor will append to user to this answer. So after the answer is published, the user can read it again, and the user can ask another sub-question or new question, and everything goes again. Why not forum? Okay, we develop Silver Stripe only. So if you take new forum software, we have new ecosystem to maintain and to learn and everything. Each software, forum software, has some sort of front-end implementation. From my experience with PHP BB, I implemented themes from scratch two times. First time I needed 2 months around. I had HTML structure and CSS all written, just implementation. There is 130 files to change, to modify. It's major task. The second time I think I needed a month only for this. We also needed to extend it quite a bit with editorial system. You will see this is not a small modification, and it could be quite painful because some pieces of software are easily extendable and are friendly for the developers. Some are not so. They also needed statistic classification export, which we had to develop for them, and so, of course, we didn't have much time and resources were quite limited, I must say. So what was the new plan? I said I would rather do everything with Silver Stripe. I had a feeling that it will be faster, it will be easier for me as a lead developer on this project. I will have everything in my hands because after 4 years with Silver Stripe, I know it quite well, and so we began. The main challenges were the re-implementation of all classic forum features from scratch. Everything has to be done from bottom up. In reality, there was not so many features because, as we've seen before, we need some features only in their simple form. The second challenge was development of this editorial system. And the first idea was to do it with the CMS interface. And now I will show you what we done on the website. Okay, let's see. Okay, no, not the right one. Okay, where are you? Here. Okay, this is the site. Let's see the design. Design is clean, and there is something missing. This should be. Later I will show you also the live site. This is my local installation. It's anonymized. All of the questions content is removed. All the usernames are removed because our client specifically asked this for this presentation. So this is the main content part, content hub. Okay, this laptop is old and slow. We have topic groups. In these topic groups, we have articles. Let's open this one. Okay, it's doing something. Okay. Okay, I hope this will work. We are here. We have some articles, tags, topics, actually, and also we have connected questions, which are connected by content, by tags, by classification with the content of articles. So we choose a tag, it will filter articles, so also a question. So all the content with this topic group and topic is on the one place. Okay, today this is terribly slow. Let's see. And we have other questions here than before. This is direct access to the question forum, so you can just ask a question. You don't need to look at other content or something. Okay, this is terrible. Okay, I have. It's simple forum. We have only the field for nickname. For the title of a question and content of question, obvious terms checkbox, and this too is optional. This is gender, woman or male, and age. These two information are quite important for counselors to know how old people are, but are strictly optional. So if you want to ask a question, you do not need to fill these two in. This is page with chat. Chat is external application. We just did the timetable for this chat. For now, it's not active. We see we have a talk with a psychologist. There should be a name and surname, and a page with some information where you can get help, with some services for help. Maybe I should probably show at least parts on the live. And even internet is not working. Okay. We have implemented search engine. It's Solar based. Slovenian language is quite morphologically complex. We implemented lemmatization, so we can get quite quality results. Let's see if this works. Let's see. Okay, no internet. But I have Stockholm public. Okay. It would not work locally and without internet at that moment. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the front page again. And the little application called Triage is okay. What is it? Because okay, it will take some time to find it. Mighty pixel. Okay, maybe this will help. Okay. Okay, password. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see. Okay, now we are on the left side. Okay, this is Triage. This is something that will lead user through some questions and will offer them. Okay. And based on their answers, it will offer them some kind of support. They can ask questions, they can search to content, or they can opt for chat with the counselor. And they can go back, and it's a nice JavaScript app. Now you see the design also. Okay, now I will have to go back to locally slow installation. I will log in to show you the user dashboard. Okay. Something is... Okay. Sorry, I will try to restart this because something is... Chromium is doing something. Okay. Okay. So user can log in. I have the admin account. So we will see the user profile part after a while. I think something is wrong with my Chromium. Internet, do I have fire? Okay. They have very basic dashboard. They can just change password. Okay. I will later try in Firefox. We'll look at that. With basic data about them, email and nickname, they can see their own questions and the questions they follow. This part is only for counselors. So if you're a counselor, you can see all your questions that are assigned to you and answered or unanswered. So we can see not much stuff really. We don't see here because I use my admin account. Normal user can set their age and gender in profile, so it will be pre-filled when they ask a question. And now I will show you the flow for the editors. We have a special view where we can see all the questions. It's here. It's actually a bit hidden. So editor will view all the questions like this. The blue ones are not published already. The red ones are deleted. So they have a quick info about questions they need to do something about. So they can open a question, they see that there is some unanswered content inside or some unedited content. They will get interface like that. This is editor interface. They can change status around here. So this is published, unpublished, hidden content, but published, because some users don't want to that their question is visible to others. But answer must be, because users are anonymous. Also, editor will assign a counselor. They have also information how many questions is assigned to counselor at that moment, so that they do not assign too many to a single one. With click on that button, they can notify that counselor with email. Email is pre-filled with the content of the question, greeting, and everything, and then they just send email. Here is the button. They can flag this question as interesting or extra hard, and they can classify the question. This is classification. You see they will assign a lot of categories, subcategories, and so on to a single question. Classification interface looks like this. You can see it's quite a lot of categories. So this part was, before this was done, was intended to be used through the CMS interface. We can also look at that. It's not so easy to use, actually. Here we have all the Okay, here we also have all the questions organized by time, the same colors, so it is visible at the moment what they need, what they have to do. They can open a question, edit it, do everything what they need to do. But they actually didn't like this, because it was more work for them than before. So they rejected the interface through the CMS, and we built the interface that I showed you before. Okay, so this is actually most of the project. As this is going very slowly, I don't think I will show you the flow when user asks a question. I will rather describe it a bit. When a user asks a question, he gets a screen with information where there will be answer, that his question is not visible. He gets a link to the question, so he can bookmark it. And note, and by this bookmark he will know where to return to get the answer. They were very particular about it. They were very worried that user will not find their answers. But I think we solved this quite beautifully. Maybe I can show this on live, and I will delete the question if I do not log in. So let's see. Ask a question. Oh, this is fast. Okay, we will say test. Stripe, it's on test. And this is optional, but I will fill it in. So, and checkbox, and you pose the question, And you have this screen. This is the link to your question where it will be published. Now it is not visible. So if I click on this, we get another notice that your question was not edited yet, and it will be published and it will be checked by the editorial team and published on that link. So, okay, and a little bit of presentation left. Okay, where did I stay? If I, okay, next slide. Doesn't want to go to the optimizations. I did a bit of optimizations because this system at that moment has, I think, 1,500 posts. This number will grow. There are some typical problems which comes with forum-like softwares, like likes count, like answers count, like sort on the last post date. This could be quite resource consuming. There are some static counters implemented on first post, so these are not expensive operations. But for anyone who programmed forums, these problems, I think, are quite known. For the development of this project, we used some Silverstripe modules, of course. Fluent is installed. It is not really used because it is only in Slovenian language, but we said maybe, or just maybe, they will want another language or some part of site in another language. Better to have it now, because installing Fluent on a site without it can be quite problematic. We used member profiles module, user profile, registration, flow, and everything is implemented with help of this module. Elemental for the content of articles, we use it almost all the time. Lumberjack, and also two modules which I personally like very much. Pure Modal for modal windows in CMS and CMS action buttons. They were meant for editorial interface part, which they didn't like, but the modules were quite good, I must say. That is basically it. Thank you for your attention, and please, if you have some questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Tine. Very good. So I'll once again bring up the panel. And don't worry that nobody touched that water. Cool. Stacy, any questions?
Well, let's start with the audience. Anybody have any questions about this case study? Have a relevant case study that they had experience with? Anybody have any questions? Yeah, Lars from Lemonade.
Yeah, I was just wondering, it was completely anonymous, right? The user part.
Yes.
So did it work by providing, if I understand the workflow, the user asks a question, she or he gets a link.
Yes.
Where they can find the answer, right?
Answer is public. So he just needs to know where to go to find the answer. He gets link before, so he can bookmark it, and it's easier for user to find this answer. But he doesn't need to bookmark it. He can just return sometimes later when a question will be published, and it will be public. Okay, content maybe not, but his nickname will be visible, and it will be written content is hidden.
Ah, right, okay.
But answer will be public for everyone, because obviously you cannot send him directly if he is not registered. You do not have email or anything.
Ah, okay, so if they decide to register, you do
Then he can get a notification. Yes, notification system is running on the back end. They can bookmark different questions, and when answers arrive, they will get email with notification. There is an answer to this question.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Andreas has a question.
Thank you. I'm curious, does it got flooded by spam bots?
No, okay, you didn't see the CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA is obviously integrated. I disabled it for my local installation, so it was not prominent. I think on the live.
So it's a Google reCAPTCHA or something?
Google reCAPTCHA is, and it's good enough for now. See it here. Yeah, it would be flooded because at the beginning, I must admit, we forgot about it. Yeah, and the day 5, I think the flood started. Okay, let's go. Yeah, reCAPTCHA module for Silver Stripe was used, and it was integrated. So now it is okay. I don't think we see any spam anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. One question over there, Sylvain. Yeah.
Yeah, very kind of seems very comprehensive on the technical side. I'm more interested on the complex business logic, on how from the initial idea, how did you translate that into specifications for your team of developers who could implement it? Like, what was the process before even writing code? Like, must have been quite challenging. Yeah? Any tips for us on that?
Okay, this project was extremely specific because predecessor of this site, the forum part, the complex part, was also developed by me. I knew all the specification by heart. We had a plan, technical plan, and actually I didn't look much at it. Everything, okay, we need to have questions, sub-questions. I would show you more, but it's so slow at my computer. They specifically asked me that do not show the content of the front end. You can look at it, it's public by yourself. And the stuff I really cannot show you is the editorial system on the live, unfortunately.
Sure.
Hi. Given the audience you're working with, did you have any specific security considerations implied on you by your client around the protection of the data and the protection of the miners, the teams that submitted
We
that
do not
data?
have any personal data of the teams and miners.
When people are
Only-
registering, aren't they providing personal data at that registration point?
Yeah, we have just email, which is usually anonymous email. They do not register with name and surname, usually. Maybe there are 3 or 4. It is registration rate is extremely low. I think maybe 5%. People like to stay completely anonymous because questions are about health, mental health, sexual development, and so on. So they can be quite specific, or about suicide. They get a lot of that.
Any more questions? I see we have a question via the app from James. He's in the audience here as well, yeah? What particularly did the editors not like about the Silverstripe-based interface? Because you mentioned that they did not like it.
They didn't told me specifically. They just told us that it's slower than the interface they had before. Previous installation was done on PHP BB with slightly modified theme, which was extended with this editorial system with some buttons, which was quite user-friendly for them. They could do their work fast. Yeah, there was quite a bit of lack on checking of border conditions. They could do some things wrong, but they do this every time. So they were quite good users, and they liked this old system very much. So I developed it for them, and it was interesting to do it again. It was also a challenge. I had quite a strong feeling that they wouldn't like the CMS part, because I also tried it and I knew that it is not the same, it's not the same feeling. I still think that if they will take more time to adapt, that maybe they will accept, but it was straight no. We don't like this. Can you do it on the front end, like on the old site?
User acceptance is a hard part of the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Do we have any more questions?
I have
Yeah.
one.
Why not?
Of course. Yeah,
Okay. I find it really interesting that you had to anonymize the data for the demo, but that's something that we all should do basically when we have test systems. So I'm curious, did you have a script for that? Do you have a process, or did you do it by hand, or how did you?
I wrote a little script. It was quite simple. I think half an hour of work, because I had to anonymize all the member classes, users, member objects, and content of all post objects, because questions and answers are post object, and I just replaced the content with content removed, and that was it.
Yeah.
2 loops and 2 selects.
Yeah. Cool.
Werner, do you have any more questions?
No.
We have a question from the audience. Herbert asks, what is the traffic levels? Or do you have any issues with scaling or performance?
Not for now. It's not heavily loaded site. Slovenia is small. It is only for Slovenians, so 2 million people. I think there is a rate about 10, 15 posts a day. I don't know how many people are reading the site. I knew, but I forgot.
Awesome.
Cool. Maybe just because you mentioned reCAPTCHA, just an advertisement. We ran into problems with reCAPTCHA in Germany because of GDPR and compliance people being worried about having Google supplying the capture. So we started using HCAPTCHA, which is also used by Cloudflare, and we really liked it. So if someone is running into discussions with their data protection guys that they say you cannot use reCAPTCHA, take a look at HCAPTCHA.
It's open source.
Thank you.
It's a service, and it basically it does the same as reCAPTCHA does, but it's a European located company.
Oh, data's in Europe, yeah.
And basically they use you to classify images. So, and you get points that you can turn into something, but yeah, we just wanted a capture mechanism that works.
Is there a Silverstripe integration already?
Good
I
question.
wanted to ask, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question. It runs in our Silverstripe, but I don't know what we did, to be honest. I have to look.
But it would be great, yeah.
Yeah. I think we looked at the the standard module that's there, and I don't know how we integrate it, but I'll check.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
No?
Awesome.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
work, good work.